Hi everyone, Jackie Lopez Crisp and I, Reina Ortiz, are going to go over our Science Explore demo. We were assigned first grade and our standard is the following. Use observations of the sun, moon, and stars to describe patterns that can be predicted. To begin in our Engage section, we would start off by showing an introduction video. We decided to focus on the sun and how it changes position throughout the day. I'm going to go ahead and play the video for you now.
Hi, it's Doug. Have you ever gotten lost before? It can be scary. Let me tell you a story about when I got lost. Well, almost lost. Where I grew up, on the edge of my neighborhood, was a forest, or we called them the woods. I loved to play in there and explore. It seemed like the woods went on forever. Now, I said it seemed like the woods went on forever, but they didn't actually go on forever. And I knew that because my friend lived in a house somewhere way on the other side. I decided one morning that I was going to walk all by myself to my friend's house. So here was my plan. Here's my house, and here's the woods next to my house. Now, there's no pathway through the woods, and it's so easy to get lost in the woods. All the trees look alike. But my dad told me that my friend's house, on the other side, was in the same direction that the sun comes up every morning. So I realized that I could use the sun as my pathway. As long as I could see the sun in the forest and just keep walking towards it, eventually I'd reach my friend's house. Makes sense, right? So the morning of my adventure, I ate my breakfast as fast as I could. I was going to leave early. I was so excited. As I left my house, I looked for where the sun was. I could see it right above the trees. And so I just walked in that direction into the woods. Now the whole time I was in the woods, I just made sure to keep walking towards the sun. I walked and I walked and I walked in that direction towards the sun. Eventually, I got there. I reached my friend's house. It really worked. The sun led me all the way there. I thought, how cool. Now my friend and I, we hung out for a long time. We played, we had lunch, we played some more. And then when my friend's dad started making dinner, I realized, I better get home while it was still daytime. So I headed back into the woods to go home. I figured as long as I walked in a straight line directly away from my friend's house, I'd get home. But as I got farther into the woods, that's when I realized, I had a problem. It wasn't easy to walk in a straight line. All the trees looked the same, and I had to go around fallen trees, and I had to go over a creek, and I had to go up some hills. Now I was lost. Did I get turned around? Was I still walking towards my house? I wasn't sure which way to go. And this was really bad. If I chose the wrong way, it might mean I walk in the wrong direction, and so get farther from home. Could I use the sun to get home? Remember, I had used the sun to get to my friend's house. Should I keep walking toward the sun to get home? Or walk in the opposite direction from the sun to get home? Or maybe somewhere totally different? If only I knew how the sun's place in the sky changed during the day. Maybe then I'd know which way to go. What do you think? If you
Okay, so after we play the video, we would pose the following question. If you were Doug, what would you do to get home? We would use the strategy of think, pair, share. We would give students ample time to think about their response and then share it with their partner. After they're done sharing with each other, we would move on to a quick write and have students write and explain their idea of how they would get home. In the Explore section, we would show students a video of how the sun rises and how it sets or where it sets throughout the day. I'm going to play the video for you.
To get to my friend's house, I walked in the direction of the sun all morning. I did that because I knew that my friend's house was in the same direction as sunrise. Then, in the afternoon, I went to head home. I walked away from my friend's house, trying to go in a straight line. But once I was deep in the woods, I couldn't stay in a straight line very easily. I think that I got all turned around, but I wasn't sure. I needed something to guide me. So should I walk toward the sun? Or away from the sun? Or something else? I really wish I knew more about how the sun changed its place in the sky. After sunrise, does the sun just go straight up and then start coming down again in the same spot where it came up, like this? Or does the sun do something totally different? How can we figure out what the sun does each day? Well, here's one way. I can take a sped up video and show you what the sun does all day. Now, this is looking right before the sun comes up, in the very early morning when it's still dark out. This won't hurt your eyes to watch. Are you ready? Here's what the sun does every day. Comes up in the morning, and now it's moving over to that side of the sky. So I gotta turn my head, and see, in the afternoon it goes down. Let's see that again. Here's sunrise, comes up, 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 and then we have to turn our head, and over there, it goes down, down, down. There's sunset, and now it's evening. And if we watch it the next day, it does the same thing. Over and over and over, every day, the sun does the same thing. Each morning, the sun always comes up over here on one side of the sky. And then it appears to move across the sky and goes down over here on the opposite side of the sky. The side of the sky where the sun comes up, we might call it the sunrise side of the sky. But there's another word for this, a word you might have heard before, and that's east. The sun rises on the east side of the sky. The word east actually comes from an old word that had to do with sunrise. The side of the sky where the sun goes down, you might call that the sunset side of the sky. But there's another word for this too, a word you might have heard before, and that's west. The sun sets on the west side of the sky. West comes from an old word that meant evening, because the sun sets in the evening. Now that you know what the sun does each day, could this help me find my way out of the forest? Remember, I got up in the morning and walked toward the sun to my friend's house. Then I headed back to my house in the afternoon, but I got lost as I did that. So let's ask the question again. To get home in the afternoon, should I walk toward the sun or away from the sun?
Okay, once we are done showing students the video, we would participate in a whole class discussion about what they observed during the video. In what side of the sky did the sun rise, and on what side of the sky did the sun set, and so on. After this discussion, we would move on to create our sun finder. And I'm going to play the instructions for how to do that.
Get these supplies. You need a handout, a pair of scissors, and a paper fastener. When you're done with this step, click the arrow on the right. Cut on the thick black lines like this. When you're done, you'll have two pieces. The big piece of paper shows the forest, and the small one shows the sun. Poke the paper fastener through the top hole. Then turn the paper upside down like this. If you need help, work with someone. Turn over the paper with the sun on it. Slide the hole over the paper fastener, like this. Spread the prongs and flatten them, like this. Trace the word east. That's where the sun rises every morning. Then trace the word west. That's where the sun sets every evening.
Okay, so that video was showing us or students step-by-step instruction on how to create a sun finder. This video would be very helpful for us teachers because it would give us time to walk around and make sure that students are cutting properly and also help those that need one-on-one guidance to create their sun finder. And this is what your sun finder should look like.